Here's my simple framework: goals, resume, LinkedIn, application, phone screen, interview, offers. First, we're going to figure out what you're really optimizing for, what you actually want. Then we'll talk about how to create your resume, optimize it, update your LinkedIn, set a target watch list for companies and roles that you like, apply with custom resume, do well on the phone screen, crush the on-site interview, get multiple offers, pick one, and off you go. Sounds super simple. Obviously, there's a lot of hard steps at the end there, but people actually get stuck on step one, and sometimes they skip step one and get stuck on step two. What is going on? My name is Alex. On this channel, we talk about product management, getting into the PM careers, and improving your product skills. Today, we're going to be talking through my framework of how to get your next product management role. First, what are you optimizing for? A lot of people really don't give this enough attention. What are you really trying to optimize for? Is this the stage of your career where you're going for advancement, for money, for compensation? Or are you trying to find a team and a product and a company that you're passionate about? Maybe a product that you actually care about and something that's fun to work on? Or maybe the mission of the company or the impact that you're likely to have. That's what's exciting for you and that's what you want to optimize for? You really have to think about it, write it down, be honest with yourself. There's no right or wrong answer here as long as you have an answer for yourself. What are you actually optimizing for? If you know that you can only be motivated when you're working on something interesting, then probably going for pure compensation is not the best idea. You want to make sure you research the company, research the product, the team, so you know who you're working with. It's something that you know you're going to have a good time basically at the job. Conversely, if you are going for money and you're the type of person or you're in the life stage where you're just trying to optimize for your compensation, you're trying to optimize for revenue, income, then maybe it doesn't so much matter which company you work at so long as you get the biggest possible compensation. That's totally okay. Product management is a very competitive career and it is a little bit of a choose your own adventure. If you want to work on something you're passionate about, finances are going to have to take a second row seat. If you're looking for money and for income, then it's the other way around. All right, so that's step one. I want you to take a moment, take some time, really think about what you want next. Take a look at the salaries that are available, levels FYI. Go on blind if you're so inclined and you have the mental fortitude, and go and find out what the salaries are for product management. Sure, it's not the best economic time right now, but I assure you there's a ton of product management jobs out there. And if you've got the right skills, the right approach, experience, you can get them. Take a look and see what the compensation is and see if it's something that you want to forego. Because basically there's an opportunity cost. Even if you do choose to go after mission and vision and project and product and team optimization and you're not really putting money first, you should at least know what the opportunity cost is. If you're making $100,000 or $200,000 a year and the market rate is $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 a year, then your opportunity cost is whatever you're leaving on the table. And the reason this step is important to do is because that opportunity cost may be acceptable for you. Maybe you'd prefer to work in a company that has a great work-life balance, and the way that they accomplish that is by paying less than the market salary. Half the people skip this step and just go looking for jobs and applying for jobs and doing all this stuff. Think about what you actually want. The resume is still the most important piece in the job application process because it's your top of the funnel. If people reject your resume, that's one more company that you didn't even get a chance to speak with to determine if you would have been a good fit. Ideally, we want every time you apply for a job, your resume is so impressive and it fits the role so well that the recruiter has no choice but to actually call you and speak with you. It is kind of boring and frustrating to work on it. There's a lot of frameworks and methodologies. I'll link to my favorite methodology for how to work through your resume. You'll find the link in the description. But you can certainly do your own as long as you follow the best practices. Keep it short, keep it relevant to the work experience, get rid of the extra stuff, give people a reason to call you back. The job experience and the skills should align with what they're looking for so that they can look at this resume and say, yes, this is exactly the person that we need. The most common sense way I have to explain this is just imagine that you are hiring for this role. You've read the job description. You know what you're hiring for. If you were the hiring manager and you saw this resume, your resume, would you make the call back? Would you get in touch with this person? If yes, then it's a great resume. I have a lot of other videos talking about resumes, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But don't skip this step. Don't just assume that whatever got you the last job will be enough now. Take dedicated time to work on your resume. Feel free to use the framework I have down below. Next, the LinkedIn profile. The LinkedIn profile, at the very least, should just match your resume. It should just not have a completely different story than what you're telling in your resume. It has two purposes. Number one is once a recruiter looks at your resume, they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile just to see if they can get any more information. So make sure that it matches. Number two is, of course, people can discover you on LinkedIn, those very same recruiters or hiring managers. That's where people go to find jobs and find prospective candidates. So we want LinkedIn to look good. At the very least, make sure that it matches the resume. At most, try to give it extra flair, perhaps publish some content that is relevant to you and your space and your role and that other people find valuable. Don't have to overdo this part as long as you meet the fundamentals. Next step is to think about jobs and companies that you like. If your goal for number one is compensation, then you really don't care. You will be applying to most companies that are mid-size or bigger companies and even some startups as long as there's a potential to get significant compensation. I don't recommend early stage startups if you are targeting compensation because the chances of you actually making significant income from that startup is relatively small. It's great to take that gamble, but if you're really optimizing for income, sort of money in hand at the end of each year, public big companies, public mid-sized companies are probably going to be the best way to achieve that. If, on the other hand, you're optimizing for finding a company or a mission, a product, a team that you like, that you have a great time working on, then you should have a short list. You should have 20, 30, 40, 50 different companies in the geographic region that you like, that aligns with you, working on stuff that you like, ideally with a team of people that you like. Obviously, you're not going to find 50 ideal jobs like this, but even if you just have a list of 50 companies where you would at least like to find out about what it's like to work with them, that's good enough. You're going to need a trigger list. You're going to need a way to find out when these companies are posting jobs that you're interested in, jobs matching your role description or similar ones. One of the most important things is to get in there early. You want to be one of the first 5, 10 applicants. The closer you are to the first batch of applicants that come in, the higher the chances that the recruiter or hiring manager will call you back, and the higher the chance that you're going to actually get the job. I can't actually underscore this enough. Every time I've posted a new job, the first candidates that come in get the most attention. It's sort of obvious. You've got a new job opening, you launched it, you put it up, then in 5 minutes, you're going to get your first resume. You've got nothing else, no other resumes to review. You're going to go and review this resume, and you might even read it longer than 5 to 7 seconds that an average resume gets. So it's extremely important to be early. Whenever a job gets posted, usually in the morning, that's the time that you want to be there. That means that you have to figure out a way to create either trigger situations or you just checking this stuff every 15 minutes in the morning, for instance, every 10 minutes so that you know what's happening. Usually when I look for companies with my clients, I will just go to LinkedIn, type in the role that I want, try to leave the filters as loose as possible to get the most possible jobs, and then sort by time, not by relevance, so that I know the moment that a new job is posted. And I will pay attention to the most recent jobs and see if I can apply instantly within 3, 5, 10, 20 minutes of the launch time. Because a lot of times, again, you could be the best candidate, but because you applied too late, you didn't even get a chance. No one reviewed your resume. Certainly no one spoke with you at a detailed interview. If you didn't get a chance to come in early, should you skip the job? No, don't skip it. Obviously still apply. The earlier the better. Think about it this way. The moment you start to do a job search, there's going to be some jobs that were posted a week or 2 weeks ago. You should still apply to those, but it probably doesn't make sense to apply to jobs that were posted significantly before that, given how competitive the market is now in terms of supply, how many people are looking for work. When you're applying, make sure you customize the resume. Your resume should not be boilerplate. You're not going to match every job description with the same resume or even multiple 2 or 3 versions of it. You need to customize this thing. You want to give yourself the maximum chances of getting called back. Customize the resume. Again, you can find a link in the description. I walk you through the steps that I take to customize my resume for each job description. Here are a few best practices for how to find a job a little bit easier. This is not a short-term solution, but this is something I encourage you to start doing so that future job applications are going to be easier for you. Number 1, make friends with recruiters across the different big and medium-sized companies. Recruiters move around a lot. If you engage them in conversation, it's going to be so much easier for you to be considered for roles in other jobs down the line. People, for some reason, skip this step. I have a bunch of recruiter friends, and I think it's awesome. I could just at any moment ask them what the hiring situation looks like at the company. I can ask them to tell me about person X, Y, and Z, or I could just ask them about a particular position and see if I could send them my resume. No better friend for a potential candidate than a bunch of recruiters. If you do have a short list of companies, 30, 40, 50 companies where you'd like to work, see if you can make some friends within those companies. Find people from a similar background. Don't just send them empty invites on LinkedIn. Nobody's going to accept an invite on LinkedIn without some sort of a custom invitation. But even the custom invitation has to provide some value and give some reason of why they should connect with you. If they're talking about something interesting online, engage them. Tell them you like their comment, you like their content, you found something thoughtful, you found something insightful, whatever it is, engage them in the conversation. If you find people from similar background, geographical background, educational background, whatever it is, if you've already engaged them in some sort of conversation and commentary online, it's going to be easier for you to send an invitation and say, hey, we're both from this college, hey, we're both from this place, excited to hear that you're also from here. I wanted to connect and see if we could chat about topic X at some point, which is something that you're both interested in. Thanks very much. A lot of people in leadership positions also offer their time. A lot of times they have office hours or other ways that you can engage them. Take them up on it. You've been applying, you're building your network, you're getting some rejections, you're getting some callbacks for the phone interviews. How to actually get through the phone interview and the on-site interview is a topic for other videos. If you're getting a lot of invites to interviews, that means our process is working. You're getting callbacks and it's only a matter of nailing the interview and doing well in the interview to get multiple offers. But if you're having rejections, if you're not getting callbacks, it's time to iterate the resume. Make sure you're always tracking your applications, when you applied, what was the resume with which you applied? What was the job description? How similar were they? And then try to see if you can identify some patterns in terms of when people send you rejections, or when people are interested, or when there's no answer. Iterate based on the feedback that you get. Be logical about this. If your resume matches the job description perfectly and you applied within minutes of the job coming up, and then you also reached out to the recruiter in that company and another person who you know in that company and asked them about this role and asked them to see if they can forward your resume to the recruiter or to the hiring manager, there's no reason why you wouldn't get a call back. If you like the video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you found the content valuable, please hit the little bell. Also subscribe to my practical product management newsletter, link is in the description below, and of course follow the resume link to get my best practices, my resume framework and system. It's exactly how I go about with my clients, customizing the resume, making sure that we come in at the top of the funnel, making sure that we get as many callbacks as we can. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. You know, we don't always have to have outtakes. Sometimes we could just sit here. Just you and me will just sort of hang out for a little bit, and then, you know, the next video.